Hello everyone, Ace here, and today I've decided to have yet another look at some video game history, and in the process answer the question, what exactly made Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell great? First released as a timed exclusive for the original Xbox in 2002, and then ported to pretty much every single system of the 6th generation in 2003, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell is one of the holy quartet of stealth game franchises, the other three being the Thief, Metal Gear Solid, and Hitman franchises. So it's easy to say that the Splinter Cell franchise overall stands tall alongside some absolute classics within the video game industry, and the original Splinter Cell played a key role in making this happen. But to understand why this game and this franchise is so well remembered, let's talk about the features that helped make this game great. And the first thing that helped make Splinter Cell great was the sheer attention to detail. It's worth noting that Splinter Cell as a franchise is known for being more linear than most stealth games. And so, perhaps because of this, the game developers decided to focus on making what was in the game as detailed as possible in terms of gameplay mechanics. Features like using thermal vision on a keypad to determine what the key combination is and in what order. Or as another example, shooting the glass that a wall mine is placed upon, causing the glass to shatter, the wall mine to fall, and the wall mine to detect its own movement and then explode. Or the fact that your spent casings actually show up on thermal, and you can even see them cool down on thermal as well, though they can be very hard to see at that point. But perhaps the best example of all, when it comes to just how much detail the developers put into the game's world, comes from the fish tanks in the Kalina tech mission. I want you to keep in mind this is from a game that came out originally back in 2002. So yes, if you shoot a hole into the fish tank, you can actually see the water in the tank go down to the point where the gunshot hole is. So undeniably, the amount of detail that the developers put into this game is nothing short of staggering. But you may be wondering why this is so important to helping make the game great. Well, part of it is of course the world building that goes along with having this sort of detail. But it does also, like I said, directly impact the gameplay, as you're pretty much required to learn how to use thermal vision on the keypads in order to beat the game. And when you pull it off, you feel quite clever about it. But this also leads me into another thing that helped make Splinter Cell great, that being the movement system that the game has. Now, it is worth noting that the stealth genre as a whole is already well known for giving players more options in terms of mobility than other genres such as, for example, FPS games, though admittedly perhaps not as much as platformers. It's worth noting, however, that Splinter Cell took this to a whole new level, giving the player more options to go from point A to point B. Combining this with the amount of detail that the game has within its world means that while the game is linear, you still tend to have multiple options in how you want to go through a particular area. This would of course be expanded upon further in later games. However, it is still safe to say that the original Splinter Cell really did make its franchise stand out in this regard right from the get-go. And it really wouldn't be overcome by other stealth franchises in this regard until the early Assassin's Creed games came out, back when the Assassin's Creed franchise was still trying to be a stealth franchise. But let's now move on to the third thing that helped make Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell great, that being Michael Ironside, the actor who played Sam Fisher in the game. Now, it may seem strange for me to praise the efforts of an individual actor, however, having looked a bit into the game's development, it is my opinion that Michael Ironside was absolutely essential to making Sam Fisher the memorable character that we all know and love. According to Mr. Ironside, he helped make changes to the script to help flesh out Sam Fisher's personality, as originally Sam Fisher didn't really have much of a personality. Apparently, the original script was so bad that Mr. Ironside wanted to just refund the money that he had taken for the job. However, he agreed to carry on provided that he could help make changes to the script to, as I've said, give Sam Fisher more of a personality, as well as take efforts to ensure that the various voice actors and actresses were recording their dialogue together to ensure more authenticity in the delivery. So it seems safe to say that Michael Ironside did more than just acting to help make this game great. Though of course this was a team effort, as Sam Fisher as a character went through several revisions during the development of the game, not just in personality but also physical appearance, as early concept art and even the intro show. All that said, I would still have to argue that Michael Ironside was integral and necessary to Sam Fisher as a character. This was demonstrated when Ubisoft replaced Michael Ironside with a new voice actor in Splinter Cell Blacklist, and Sam Fisher pretty much lost his personality as a direct result. Though by that point, the Splinter Cell franchise already had numerous classics under its belt. Classics that once again owe their existence to the original game from 2002. For these reasons, I'll end by stating that this has been Ace, and I hope you'll agree when I say that Tom Clancy Splinter Cell is great.